Christian parenting.
Hey, Melissa, welcome to Pardon the Mess. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Sorry about the snot going on right here, but I told you, I needed you. We needed this lightheartedness. That's the word, not light hair. Lightheartedness.
Light hair is what I have on my chin. Trust me. I'm in menopause. Let's talk about that.
What I do want to talk about is the volume on your hair. How do you get the volume going on?
You want to know what's funny? I was actually FaceTiming a friend before I got on here, and she goes, your hair's not as big as it normally is. I said, well, then God help us all, because it is big today.
No, it is good.
I am a Texas girl. If you don't get it big, then they're going to go outside and the humidity is going to suck all the life out of it. So I just have to get it big. And I do that with my big, sexy hairspray. Don't you know? That's what I use.
What part of Texas are y'all in?
We are in deep East Texas. So the way I describe it, we're in Lufkin. And the way I describe it is we're about an hour and a half from Houston. So if we want to go shopping, if we want to have sushi, or if we want to fly anywhere, we have to go out of Houston to do it. So that's where we are.
Okay, we're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I've been here 10 years, but I'm still so lost. This is the biggest state ever. I told my friend I was coming up to see her in Houston. She was like, no, down.
Yeah.
So it's a very big state.
It is. Where did you come from?
We were originally from Atlanta, then we went to Orlando, and then we've been here 10 years, and I'm still so lost. I'm still using my phone
Atlanta to Orlando and then to Dallas, and I'm telling you about humidity. You can write a book on hair and humidity.
I will not go back to Orlando. It's just gross. It's too many showers in a day. I cannot handle it.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend who is considering a move, her and her husband and their kids, from Boise, Idaho to Dallas.
Okay.
And she was like, tell me all about it. And I told her, I said, well, first of all, we lived in Dallas our first year of marriage. I loved it, but it takes a while. Like, you drive everywhere you go, you drive.
That's right.
There.
That's right.
You know, you don't walk somewhere like, oh, my kids are just going to walk down to the school.
No,
they ain't.
no.
You got to drive. And that's what I remember about Dallas, but also everywhere you turn, there's something. Anything you need, Dallas has it. It's really unreal.
It's unbelievable.
And y'all recently got something I want to ask you about. But David Radke is behind the camera and he is already rolling his eyes because he knows what I'm going to ask.
I can't wait.
Have you been to Swig yet?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know what Swig is and I want to try it so bad.
I have teenage girls, so you know what I do? I fund Swig. Every Sunday, they're like, as if they're bazillionaires. They're like, Mom, we're going to go to Swig, and then we're going to go to Trader Joe's to get our hydrangeas. And I'm like, what are these people? But they love it. Y'all, I guess y'all don't have a Swig down there?
Or a Trader Joe's. What do you mean they're going to get their hydrangeas?
I know, because they think it's probably because they're going to do a little clip, a day in the life of a girl that lives in Dallas. So instead of, do they really need hydrangeas? But Trader Joe's has a little thing of hydrangeas for like $10. And it's so cute. So, you put that in your Swig photo. And so Swig, if you don't know, folks, the Utah people started it, but it's a dirty soda, if you will. So I don't get into it, but it's like a Diet Coke, and then they pour a little coconut or something weird in it. Have you had it before?
Well, I've only had the Sonic dirty sodas. I'm trying to recreate it here at Sonic in my town. I'm trying to recreate Swig. But I've heard that like you can get, your soda doesn't have to be Coke or Diet Coke. It can be pomegranate soda. And then it can be anything. And that's just weird to me.
No, the kids love it. The kids love it.
But
it's
you
like
don't
a whole.
love it?
No, I really don't. I don't really do. I love a good Sonic. I'll do a little cherry limeade. I don't get into the like vanilla flavors mixed with my Coke. It's like two different categories.
Maybe you don't love it because you're trying to keep the lights on in your house.
It's
Maybe
amazing.
moms don't get into it because we're just trying to pay the bills. Okay.
How old are your kids? I think we both have teenagers, right?
Yeah, I have a 18-year-old who's graduating in May and headed off to college. Do you really?
Yeah.
We're going to talk on this show.
My word.
And then I have a 16-year-old boy. Remy
my word.
is 18 and Rocco is 16.
Okay, Ella's 18, going to Auburn in the fall. I totally brainwashed her to do that. And then I have almost 16-year-old. Well, 16-year-old by the time this airs, girl. So 2 girls.
Oh,
so
okay.
Same stages.
Same exact stages. But I'm going to tell you something. A 16-year-old girl and a 16-year-old boy, vastly different. So if your listeners are going to extend sympathy to one of us, it will be me, because a 16-year-old boy is the dirtiest, nastiest, smelliest thing. I thought that was always just a joke, but I didn't know a person could fart that much without there being a disease that we need to have them checked for.
Does this car smell? Is it like you open the door and it just wafts out?
his daddy went into his room the other night to tell him good night. And David walked back into our room and got in bed. And he said, Melissa, I opened up that door and the odor just, and I said, what was it? And he goes, I'm not even going to ask. It was like farts and the world's most expensive cologne all mixed together. And that's what it's like having a boy. Yeah. And he's clean. He takes 8 showers a day. Goodness knows.
Oh my gosh. Well, how you feeling about all the graduation stuff? This is no joke. I really thought I was so on it. I was like, I am a very type A, like get it done person. And then we came back from spring break and it was like I got hit with a Mack truck. I think that's why I'm sick. Because it was like, oh my word, all of a sudden, dorm rooms and graduation parties and graduation gifts. I mean, it's all the things. It's so much.
It is so much. And little segue here into my book, but I have surrounded myself with really great women. And that's what my book is about, is chicken fried women, these women that are in our lives. And really, I feel like so many of them are hosting my daughter's graduation party. I'm so grateful for that. I don't have to worry about any of that. In fact, I've said, don't tell me anything, which let it be a surprise, which they know means Melissa don't want to do a thing. And so they're handling all that. I did not know the importance of the dorm room. I didn't know. And Courtney, let me tell you something. And I really am asking your advice on this. I have a daughter who is not super girly. Now, she's girly. She wants to do recruitment. She wants to do rush and all that kind of stuff. So she's girly, but she's not on top of the latest styles and trends. Yeah. So I feel a little bit like I'm having to push her to do the dorm room because all the moms are telling me it's such a big deal, Melissa. You have to do it, Melissa. You have to make sure they're matching, Melissa. And I don't know how.
But here's the thing. Does it matter? And I am the one that's going to complain all day and then fund the whole thing. I'm like, these idiot moms. And then I am straight up ordering the stupid headboard. But I think you think back, and I had like a bed in a bag, like a purple one with fish on it from like Richway or whatever the place. I don't know, Bed Bath & Beyond back then, but it's like now they look like better than my guest room. Like there's coordinating things. I just bought a rug. I can't even believe I bought this rug for my child for college. I'm like, she's going to be pouring who knows what on it. And I just funded it. I don't even know what I'm doing. So the advice is let her be her. I think she doesn't have to be all cutesy. She doesn't want to.
Does your daughter already know who her roommate is and you've already called that mom?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they have a Pinterest board for sure. They have a Pinterest board.
Okay, our girls are not like that, and I'm afraid they're going to get to college and be embarrassed. And
no, what they are is they're going to be real. And so I have a friend who had 2 twins, and she said, we're not paying for all that. Like, we're just, that is silly. You're going to take stuff from home. And she posted a picture of them, these twin girls. They went to Auburn, and they had like some old antlers they found on the wall. Then they had this weird, and it looked so cool because it was them, and it was eclectic, and it was Texan, and it wasn't the same. Because I do think you can rinse and repeat, like Laura Park. Just Google Laura Park. Everybody was doing those pillows for a while, and now my daughter's like, those were last year. I'm like, oh my word, I've never had a Laura Park pillow in my life.
I've never even heard of Laura Park.
Okay, Google the Laura Park. So no dishing on her. It's amazing, but I do think they can get out of their minds, and so I think it's a gift that your daughter's like, whatevs. Because I'm like, who cares? It's gonna save you $1 million.
She told me, this is what she said. Who's going to be her roommate? She likes pink. And I said, okay. And then Remy goes, but I like, brown. No, you got to change your favorite color. And Remy goes, I don't want to. Brown's been, I said, Remy, pink and brown ain't a thing.
That is hysterical. Oh my gosh. Okay, tell me about this book. So I've told you, I've followed you for years. Every time I'm like, where did she go? You popped up the other day. And I was like, the algorithms. I'm like, you were in my life on a daily, and then where'd you go? I don't know, but you're back now because I've been watching your videos. You're back in my life, and you're just so funny. So tell me what made this book important to you. Why do you think like laughter and lightheartedness is huge for us as women?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? First of all, the algorithms can literally kick it. They can kick it down the road, algorithms, because it is just, I have 630,000 followers on Facebook alone, and about 8 people see my stuff. And I'm not, that's not 8%. That's literally 8 people. And that's because if you don't like something or continually, commenting or liking or whatever, Facebook's like, I know you hate her, right? I'm never going to show her you again. Anyway, so I wrote a book several years ago called Eat Cake, Be Brave. And in that book, there was a chapter called Chicken Fried Women. Yeah. And it was about, the chapter was literally a conversation that had been held at my mother's, what am I trying to say? Like her bar area in her kitchen, her island.
Yeah.
And it was between my mama, my granny, my Aunt Melba, and my cousin Meredith and me. And the chapter is literally written almost like a play. Like Granny said this, then Melba said this, because I wanted people to envision the women that I live with and that I do life with. People went nuts for that chapter. And I knew that I was hitting on a nerve because A, they either recognize themselves in it and recognize their family, or B, they didn't have that and they wanted it. But either way, I knew I was going to steal that chapter and that title and use it for my next book, which I did. It's called Chicken Fried Women, Friendship, Kinship, and the Women That Made Us This Way.
I love it.
It is a book about not just Southern women, because this book is for the girl who was born and raised in Arizona with strong women around her, the girl in Connecticut with strong women. But it is how our life is affected and shaped by the women that are in it. And by that, I mean the good, the bad, the toxic.
Yeah.
We are surrounded by women all the time. They are so much a part of our story. They shaped us. They molded us. Sometimes they hurt us. Sometimes they looked dead in the eye and said, some girls can go without makeup, Melissa, but you're not one of them. I mean, they are the women that helped us, learn how to use a tampon. That's a true story from my Aunt Melba. And they helped us pick out our first bra. But they also told us, hey, Cankles run in the family, deal with it. So
hilarious.
Women are such a part of our story, and they've shaped me, and not just in the funny ways, in really devastating ways too.
Yeah.
And so that's really what the book is about.
I love it. Are you having, I imagine, all these conversations with your daughter right now? And I try not to oversell it to my daughter, but my very favorite life friends, like the people when you mention in your book materials, like who kind of can you just laugh until you cry? Those are my Auburn people. And it's like we go on a trip and we can, like, it will be seconds. And we were laughing so hard. It was like, how do we bring that story back up from 20 years? And so I don't want to set her up from like, this is going to be your story too, because I don't know. I hope she makes the friends that I made, but there's something about growing up in the college years and being around people and doing the dumbest things you've ever done. Now, we didn't have social media, so we didn't record all of it, but how are you talking about friendship with your daughter who's about to enter a new season?
It's interesting that you say this, because I just had this conversation with her just the other day. So Remy was in a little bit of a predicament this past year, because Remy's best friends, there was 4 of them, 3 best friends and her, and they are all 1 year older. They started off in preschool together, these girls, and they went to church. That's how they've grown up. And even though they were in different schools as they got older, Remy was always 1 year behind because we held her back in like first grade or something.
Yeah.
Because she had behavior issues, and it was a very good decision. So therefore, they've all gone off to college. And so she's really struggled this year. She is not super close to any of her friends at school. She's got a ton of them. She's a really outgoing, loved girl at school, but those connections were not there. So the other day, I found myself having a conversation with Remy that you would almost think the conversation would have been about a boy. If you had walked in, you would have thought I was talking to my daughter about a boy, but I wasn't. Here's what I said. You know what I'm praying for you, Remy? She said, what? And I said, that some girl at the University of Arkansas comes in and just sweeps you off your feet. That she's the best friend that you can talk to, that you can share with, who challenges you to be better, to go harder, to work smarter, to pray longer. She's the one who, when you're crying in, the college worship service, she's the one who comes and puts her arm around you. She's the one who, when you get married someday, is going to stand right beside you. She's going to come in, Remy, and she's going to sweep you off your feet. You would think I was talking about a boy. She was sobbing. And she said, Mama, that's what I want. I want a friend like that. And not to say that she didn't have it with those other girls, but now they're off at their colleges and they're making those friends. College was the place that my bridesmaids were from.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, same.
And so I want that for Remy. I am praying that for Remy. I think that we put so much time, mamas, and effort into praying for our future spouses, for our children, and not near as much for their friends.
I love that.
especially at this age.
Yeah.
I think we actually do it a little more in elementary, that they'll have friends and they'll be sweet and, and then we lax. We get a little lax in it. No, these are the years that Remy needs
Yep.
those friends around her. And I want her to meet friends who are better than her and smarter than her and more hardcore in their faith than her, because I think you should always be around people that are challenging you.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad. Did you ever meet Cynthia Yanoff? She was the host of this podcast before me.
No.
Hilarious woman, but she had the courage to tell me, hey, it isn't all roses, by the way. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, no, my daughter struggled so much in the first semester. And I'm so glad she told me that, because my interpretation, or my memory, which is very old, of going to college was like, it was awesome. Like, I don't remember struggling. And she was saying girls are having a hard time adjusting, and guys too. But I heard that from several girls that started this year. Like, it took them a little bit longer. It took them more than like that first rush thing or that first month. And maybe by Christmas, they had a couple of people. But I think that's important for us too, to tell our girls, it's like, hey, start getting your feelers out, because they would be lucky to be friends with Remy. It's like, not only do you want someone, but it's like, hey, almost like dating. It's like, put your feelers out and see if that's my kind of girl. So that's how I'm kind of coaching Ella. Is like, don't panic if in week 2 you haven't had your bridesmaids sit down and pick out your dress.
That may not come until year 2.
Yeah.
I was actually up at the high school the other day volunteering for something, and the school counselor came over and we were just shooting the breeze, and she was talking about Remy, and she said, my daughter, it's her first year at Texas A&M, and she said, and my daughter was so active in high school. College has been devastating for her. And I said, why? I mean, you talk about an outgoing kid. She said, our daughters battle loneliness so much at college, and they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because everybody comes home from college saying it's so great, and nobody's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, I've been a little bit worried about that with Remy. I remember going to college, and I would get in the shower and cry.
Yeah.
So that nobody could hear me. It was a communal bathroom, and it was back in the early 90s, folks. So when I say communal bathroom, I mean like 14 girls had to share, 3 showers. I have to tell you something funny, Courtney. I got out of the shower one day. This is so horrible. I got out of the shower one day, and there was this girl in the bathroom, and she said, were you in there crying? Because your eyes are all red. And I said, she was older, and I said, well, I miss home, She said, girl, you are in the wrong shower. If you're going to get in the shower and cry, at least get in this one. And she took my hand, and she took me to the middle shower, and taped up on the wall in the shower was a picture of the most attractive guy on campus.
No
And she said,
way.
if you're going to cry in the shower, at least get in this one and feel better about it. And I was like, that is so dirty. Then I started crying, because I was like, I was this good Christian girl, and I was in a Christian school. And I was like, I think that's real dirty what you're telling me to do there. I'm not comfortable with that. And I called my mom, and I was like, they've hung up pictures of boys in the showers. And of course, my mom was like, Gene, I'm telling your daddy, Gene, we've sent her to the wrong school.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Ella's best friend is going to Arkansas. So we're going to do a little exchange later. And she's an awesome girl and very funny. Yeah, I can see her being like, yeah, brown's my color. I feel like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'll give her to you.
I know there's like 32,000 kids there, but is there any way we could arrange for them to meet at Starbucks at the same time? Like, we should set it up.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's a great girl. She's a twin, and her mom is hilarious. So,
I'd love
she's
it.
all kinds of witty. You would love her.
Okay.
Okay, I was thinking the other day, so I was telling someone who knows about all the things my parents didn't do, and I was like, I've not told my parents what I do remember. So I want you to think, like, you're like, oh, in therapy, like, oh, they did this or they did this. It's like, no, I remember a lot of good things. And so I remember Crisco. Like, I remember my mom scooping up that big thing of Crisco, throwing it in and doing like fried okra. I remember like the smell of bacon. I remember deviled eggs. Like, what are the things you remember growing up that you thought maybe this is so normal? Like, every family does this. What was so normal that you remember growing up that you're like, turns out not everybody was having Crisco fried? It could be anything.
Oh, it could be anything. Things that were normal that I realize now are not normal. Okay, where do I begin? My mother wore a muumuu for the first 16 years of my life. Everywhere she went. I'm not
like
kidding.
a nightgown, not like a nightgown in the house. Like, we're leaving the house in this.
She would put jewelry with it and sandals and call it a day. My mother served Easter in the muumuu. My mother served Christmas in the muumuu. My mother took pictures of me and my friends while she wore a muumuu. That was very normal. And guess who owns 85 moo-moos?
To say, is that the modern day caftan? Like, what was she?
My kids go, that's a moo-moo. I go, it's a caftan. When Noni wore it, it was a moo-moo. Now that I'm wearing it, it's a caftan.
I need to
do
know
the
where
same
she was
thing.
getting this. Was this Sears? Like, where was she finding her moo-moos? I wonder.
I don't know, but they were really elegant. I'm not going to lie. Other things that were normal. We fried everything. And that has been a very bad habit. And that's something that I have to break now. We fried everything. In fact, I can tell you a story. My parents still tell this story to this day. I would come in from school. My mom was a worship pastor at a church. So she would work, but she'd get off around 4. And then she'd come home. My dad worked just down the street. So I wasn't exactly a latchkey kid, for Pete's sake. But I was home by myself for a little while. And I came in from school and I fixed myself a snack. And on this particular day, I caught the kitchen on fire. They had to get the vent above the stove, you know, the vent. They had to replace it because there was black all over it. I burned it up because I came in and decided to fry me some shrimp for an afternoon snack.
So
My mother
no
came
one
out
ever-
in the kitchen. I had all the windows open and I was crying. And she said, what did you do? And I said, I was hungry and I just decided to fry some shrimp. And my mother went just like this. That's the craziest thing. Was it good? Did it even turn out good? Don't do it again. But do you have any left? I mean,
Yes. Oh my
we
gosh.
fried everything. And I don't think that was normal.
No, I don't
But
think. And
you're from the South. Y'all had to fry a lot.
for sure, I remember vividly getting burns. Like you'd walk up to the Crisco thing, and you're like, "Are these like scars from the burns?" But yeah, I also remember thinking my mom's the best cook ever. And then I was like, no, we had burgers on the rotation, we had spaghetti on the rotation, and so I dumbed myself down like the worst cook. And I'm like, no, I think she had 4 or 5 things that were on the rotation. We also did like bagel bites; those were the after school thing, and some egg rolls out of the frozen section.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
have a little egg roll.
The other thing that I would say that is very normal to this day, it's been this way my whole life. I am mortified to say this. So one of my very best friends, she now lives in California, but she was originally from North Dakota. She moved to Texas. We met each other. We became very, very close very quickly. And so when a holiday would come up, her and her family, it was difficult to get all the way to North Dakota. And so they would spend a lot of holidays with us. And she just looked at me one time and she said, you know, I wouldn't trade anything for the holidays that I've spent with your family. I feel so loved. I eat good, but I have to tell you something that is just abnormal that y'all do. And I was like, start a list, baby. And she said, I've never seen a family that puts bacon in everything.
Yeah.
Melissa, it's in your salads. It's in your potatoes. It's in your broccoli cheese casserole. It's
That's
in your
right.
green bean casserole. It's in your y'all have it in everything. There's nothing you don't have it in.
Correct.
I said, have you gone over to the dessert section? There's a cheesecake with salted caramel bacon on the top.
It's
Like, that
amazing.
is not normal.
It's hilarious.
Yes.
I think it is. And I can't wait for these kids to figure out what they're going to eat in college. I mean, that was my love of honey mustard. We dipped anything we could find in honey mustard in college. I'm like, what? Was every restaurant just selling that? Like we just literally, we would rate the honey mustard. We would rate the ranch. It was all about the condiments. So I can't wait for that.
Absolutely. Remy just asked me the other day. She said, I was working on her registry, her Amazon registry, and for graduation. And she said, did you put on there an air fryer?
Wait, what? There's an Amazon registry for her gifts?
Girl, yes.
What?
I'm ahead of you in something. Yeah, loser. There's a yeah, loser. Who's behind on dorm rooms now? Yes, you can set up a registry for your kid. It's called Remy's Next Chapter. It's made public.
Stop.
And so on her graduation party invitation is the code. And so they just click the
that's
code
brilliant.
and it goes to the registry. Yeah.
Well, I'll be doing that later this afternoon.
But
Thank
I told
you
her
very
I
much.
can't put an air fryer on there, Remy.
Sure you can. Sure you can.
She's like, how am I going to eat bacon?
All these book sales, we're about to get that air fryer, baby. Put that on there. All right, tell me this. So for the mom, I just feel like you're funny everywhere you go. And I'm sure your kids think you're hilarious and your friends think you're hilarious. But were you always okay just being you? I'm thinking of the mom today that's like, why can't I just be me? Like, why can't I just, like, I feel like you're so genuinely you. So there's 2 questions in that. One is like, speak to the mom who's like having trouble finding friends, feels like she's not like everybody else. Or is that even, that's just what I had on my heart to ask you today. Like, have you always been like you had to pretend to fit in, or you're like, this is Melissa Radke, come as you please?
No. What would you say your demographic is for this podcast? Age-wise?
Probably 30s, 40s, some of them with elementary school, and some of them creep a little older because of the stage I'm in. But we have everything from toddlers up, but probably 30, 40-year-olds.
Okay. I want to give you a little story. When I was in my 20s, I got married really young, and I dealt with depression severely bad. And I had not up until that point. I didn't deal with that a lot in school, but in my 20s, I hit it. And by my 30s, it was severe. It was severe. And I would say even suicidal ideation and stuff like that. So did I fit in my body? Did I feel like I fit in during those years? Heck no. In fact, there was a season on American Idol, and everybody was watching American Idol at the time. And there was this season when there was this girl on there, and her name was Brooke. I don't remember her last name. She was a contestant on American Idol. She didn't go super far, but she would sit at the piano and play. And I remember she was a woman, she was a girl of faith. She was a Christian. So therefore, a lot of people were like, let's vote for her because she's a Christian, And she was always so kind in all of her interviews or anything like that. Anytime she was with the judges, she just always had this pleasant look on her face. And I'm going to tell y'all, I spent an entire year praying this prayer.
I can't wait.
God, why won't you just take away the personality that I have and make me like that girl Brooke? I was looking for some role models, right? I thought she was beautiful. I thought she was talented, and I thought she was so kind. And she just always had a really sweet word on her lips all the time. And I was asking God to take away what he had created in me, how he had made me to be, and literally make me like someone else. And I didn't pray that once, and I didn't pray that 10 times. I prayed that for almost a year.
Wow.
You guys. I blogged about it. I mean, I wanted to have a different personality. So I feel you, sister. I feel you. You don't quite know where you fit. You're not like the other moms. You're not the Proverbs 31 woman that everybody told you should be. And I feel you. And I just want to tell you that there will come a day, and it might not be anytime soon, but trust me, there will come a day when you will settle into your body and into your personality, and it will fit you like a glove. And you will be so happy that God never changed you and that you just are who you are. But it took me a while.
Yeah.
It took me a while to find my people. It is hard. Friendships at a young age are hard. Friendships as an adult are harder.
Yeah.
But I am so glad God never took me up on my question. I'm so glad. I'm so thankful for unanswered prayers because I love who I am. In fact, my personality, the humor that I always thought was off-putting to people, is what has brought me here to this podcast today.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Everybody is singing. Nobody's writing. I don't want to be an author. They're stupid. They're boring. I want to be on American Idol is the reason why I'm sitting here today. God knew best, and I didn't trust him. For the longest time, I didn't trust him. And yet today, as I was getting ready and doing my makeup and my hair, and I was thinking about this podcast, I was thinking, I'm so settled in who I am now.
And that's cool. Like that was the only question I had on my heart to ask you about, which is just so cool that he would just even put that settlement. Yeah. That is what I feel when I look at you, is that you're just confident who you are, not in an egotistical way, just be like settled is the perfect word. I love that.
I have another podcast interview that I'll do later on this afternoon, and she sent me some questions ahead of time. And one of the questions is, what is a word that would describe you at 25? And what is a word that would describe you today? My word for 25 is sad. My word for today is settled.
Wow.
I'm so settled. It's like I just put on the comfiest pair of pajamas that fit me to a T. That's how I feel about myself. But I think that comes with age, ladies. And I think it comes with also some maturity in Christ, because at a certain point when you are deep in your relationship with him, you realize that all things do work together for good. He didn't make a mistake, and I'm the apple of his eye.
Wow.
I mean, he doesn't, I always tell my kids, God doesn't love anyone more than me, except you. I mean, he just loves us all so much. And he's so pleased with who I am. Why would I want to change that?
Yeah. I love that you came back up in my world and my algorithm, so I fixed that. But I was thinking as I was laughing this morning, looking at different reels, you were talking about Spanx and all kinds of things. I'm like, that's what we got to do as women. And I want you to close with just the book is like put more people and things that are lighthearted and are fun that you like. I leave your Instagram page and I'm not feeling bad about myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
taking life a little bit lighter and also inspired because you share some really inspiring things. But what would you say to as women pick up this book? What is your hope and dream for them as they walk away? What's like the magic wand? I know that's a big question, but as they sit down and read it on the beach or audiobook it while they're grocery store shopping, what are you hoping they walk away with?
Nothing more than joy.
Mm.
For a long time, I felt guilty that I wasn't bringing the depth and bringing the word and preaching the word. That is not necessarily what I'm called to do. I am actually very good at that when I'm coaching one-on-one. I do coaching with women, and that's when I can get into the nitty-gritty with them. But what I am called to do is to bring joy and happiness to women. And I don't want anything more for you than to laugh until tears are rolling down your face.
Love it.
Because in this world, don't we need it? And I do feel like that is what this book is. This book is funny. Y'all, my first bra was bought from a dead woman's garage sale.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I never had a training bra. As my mother said, Melissa, you came out of the womb wearing a Playtex and big chested. My first bra, my mother bought it at a garage sale from a woman who had died. Okay?
And she was like, this is a good idea. This is
a good idea. She saw it hanging up on a tree limb and said, I think that one will fit Melissa. Yeah, so when I needed another bra, all the women in my family went with me and made me try them on in front of them. And I did it like an idiot. That's
when did you find out that the bra was from the dead lady? How much later?
When my granny said, lift up your shirt and let me see your bra. And I showed her my bra and she said, that bra is terrible. I'm taking you to get a new bra. So all the women went with me. Listen to this. All the women went with me bra shopping to this place in my town where a woman sold exclusively bras. When I went in to the bra shop, my granny said, lift your shirt and let her see your bra and let her see your boobs.
Stop.
I raised my shirt up and the woman said, I sold that exact bra to Helen Strenden and then she dropped dead. And my mother went, don't tell her that. And that's when I found out I was wearing a dead woman's bra.
It's the most small town USA story I've ever heard in my life.
There's stories like that. That is what this book is. This book will make you laugh. It will make you appreciate your people. It will make you love your family. It will make you laugh till you cry. And if all I bring you is joy, that is good enough for me.
Oh man, you did that today. I told you I almost canceled last night, but I'm like, I needed this joy. And I'm so glad to know our girls are going to be hitting college at the same time, and I will connect you with sweet Emma on the other side of this. But thanks for bringing the joy and the laughter. I hope your book does amazing, and so many people will get joy out of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Courtney. Love you, girl.
Thanks.
Talk to you soon.
Christian parenting.